We have a lot to talk about here regarding free agency. It's been a wild one since the start of free agency, where we were, all three of us, and Emily Rand and Crumbs and Miles Yim out in Los Angeles were part of our free agency show. We got a lot to break down, though, Tyler. Let's start with you and DragonX. Chovy and Duran, both coming from Griffin. They both find new homes in DragonX. So this roster now, Tyler, is Duran top lane, Piosik as in the jungle, Chovy mid lane, Deft in the bot lane, Carrier as support. All of these contracts end in 2020. But I wonder, so you got two players from Griffin moving over to DragonX. A lot of those players had, have this cohesion regarding DragonX. What kind of dynamic do you think we're going to see?
I think the sky is the limit for this team going into 2020. The Chovy saga during the offseason was one of the ones I was closest working with, and it was wild. I mean, Chovy was so close. So close. There was one point in the offseason that I felt going to sleep at night. I was told it was a 75% chance that Chovy was going to go to Evil Geniuses. It was very, very close. And Chovy, when it came down to it, and it's even been documented in DragonX's documentary series, that they didn't think they were going to get him. He was such a top flight free agent. He was the #1 free agent for a lot of teams. And he turned down millions of dollars to go to DragonX. It would have been the biggest contract in Western League of Legends history, I was told, if he signed with Evil Geniuses. And because of cvMax, the coach from Griffin, who was exiled, signed by DragonX, he kind of is the mentor, the father figure, the older brother that kind of took Chovy, who, when he first started playing, was 17 years old. cvMax kind of pushed him to become a pro player. He kind of dragged him to even try out to be on Griffin in the first place. He turned Chovy into from a one-trick player into a superstar he's known today. So when it came down to it, it was either you take the large sum of cash, go to America, go on a team that might they'll probably make Worlds, maybe make top 8, but he signed a 1-year contract because he wants to play with cvMax for 1 more year and he wants the chance at the World Championship. If you sign in NA, you're probably not winning Worlds unless something, all the stars align and you have a great, everything works perfectly. But he signed in Korea with DragonX because he believes this team with Deft, who's probably definitely one of the top 80 carries in the world, might be the best 80 carry. Kira, who's a highly touted support, and Doran, who he knew on Griffin with cvMax. He believes this team can win in 2020, and that's why he signed a 1-year contract. He is looking to win this year, and then going to 2021, he's going to be looking to make some more money. So EG, while they didn't get him this year, I would not be surprised if Chovy has another strong performance in 2020, that those two, sides could come to a deal come in 2021.
So you think, Jacob, that Chovy will have that sort of money offer when his contract expires, assuming he has a good season?
He's betting on himself, right? What you just said, assuming he has a good season. He's betting on himself, right? I think that this team is incredibly talented. I think that of all the LCK teams that made moves this offseason, or major moves this offseason, DragonX is the one that could be very, very, very good if it all sorts out well, right? What we don't know about this team, though, is what's going to happen with cvMax. There was a summit this weekend about what's going on with Griffin between lawmakers and Kespa and others. cvMax was indefinitely banned, and then that was postponed. And right now, Riot says that they're hiring a third-party investigator to kind of go back and look over their work. Mm-hmm. There's always a chance that what they alleged, which was that cvMax physically and verbally abused players and staff on Griffin, that is true. We don't know. It's Riot's word versus his. And if the third party finds that, he could be off this team again and out of a job, right? And so I think that that's the wild card here. Clearly, cvMax and Doran wouldn't be on DragonX if they felt those allegations were true, or if they were subject to these allegations of abuse. But that's the big sort of roll of the dice for DragonX, right? If he gets suspended either beginning of the season, middle of the season, again, there's a real chance that this could go very haywire. And in Chovy's case, this is very much betting that they will do well and that he can go get the big money again. But look, it's not all about the money. It's certainly he is someone that wants to compete. He did pretty well with Griffin throughout 2019, and so I could see it happening again. I think you're right, Tyler, that pairing him with someone like Deft, who is one of the best AD carries probably of all time, in my opinion. He's had a really great career.
Definitely.
Looking at that, this is a team that has a lot of talent, but it's certainly Chovy rolling the dice. He did not secure the bag. And his chance to do so could go away if it's not a good year for DragonX.
Someone who did secure the bag was Hooney. We'll talk about him in Dignitas a little bit later on. But don't forget, we have one page on ESPN.com/esports, a live tracker that you can see every single free agency transaction.
I put a lot of work into this, people. Go visit it.
It's his baby. So a dub in the chat for Jacob Wolf. Tell him on Twitter how much you love him and this idea. The live trackers at ESPN.com/esports. A swap at mid lane, Tyler. Speaking of Griffin and DragonX, so it will be Nahyun coming from DragonX to Griffin, playing at mid lane, and of course Chovy going to DragonX. Which of those two mid laners, which one do you think will be better suited for their new team?
Oh, Chovy, no doubt. If cvMax doesn't, if cvMax is allowed to be around the team, even if he's suspended, if he's still allowed to be around the DragonX, house, I think Chovy will be happy to have his, older brother mentor figure with him. And I just think Chovy is by far the better player. I don't think there's anyone you're going to find that says Nahyun is a better player than Chovy. Nahyun is a very interesting player, though. There was a lot of rumors this offseason that he might have been looking to, role swap back to top lane where he kind of started his career. But that didn't happen. He went to Griffin. And Griffin is such a question mark right now because we don't know if Griffin is even going to be allowed to be playing in the LCK in 2020. There's still the question of how the organization needs to sell the team kind of to a new board of directors. So you have Tarzan and Viper, who are arguably two of the best players in the entire league, kind of in limbo. Nahyun and Antara coming in. And in a five-man unit of Nahyun, Antara, Tarzan, Viper, and Cabby, that's a decent squad. That's still going to be probably top 5, top 6, getting to playoffs possibly in the LCK, but Griffin has so many question marks around them.
The interesting thing about that is I think that the timing of when the offer was made by Griffin to let these players walk if they so chose to was really interesting, right? So we talked about Chovy, and Chovy kind of threw the wrench into the offseason because there were a couple teams in China, South Korea, and in North America who all had a mid lane slot open, right? And he immediately on November the 25th, when he was released of his contract after asking for that, he became sort of the free agent in a market where not many existed at that level, right? I think the same thing could be said with Tarzan, right? If it would have been earlier, right? A lot of people, particularly in North America and in China, made a lot of jungle decisions very quickly. We saw things like Xmithie and Broxa and Selfmade, all of those moved like on the same day, the first day of free agency, right? All those deals got done very, very quickly. If Tarzan would have had the opportunity to opt out a week earlier rather than November the 25th, but on November the 18th, I think that those opportunities would have been plentiful. I think he still probably would have had some on the table, even if he opted out on the 25th, but the market was a lot smaller for these guys. And so I'm very interested to see what would have happened if that was earlier, if what happened with Griffin was earlier. And we don't know what is, like Tyler said, we don't know what is coming for Griffin. Ashley Kong and I are very tuned into everything that's going on with Griffin right now and sort of reporting in South Korea. And I don't know. Well, we got a couple weeks. We got a little bit over a month, I think, until the LCK kicks off. And we got a lot. I think Griffin's got a lot to figure out before that in the next 4 weeks.